It's the 2K Sports pregame show.
Tonight, it'll be the Wildcats going up against the
Welcome, sports fans. Thanks for joining us. On Wednesday and then on Friday.
And just looking ahead to what's on tap, there are a lot of winnable games for them, but you can't go into the stretch with that mentality. You've got to focus on what's in front of you and bring it every night.
Now the starting group for the visitors. We've got Q. Waller is out there with baddest one, and it's Boomer, and it's Montgomery, and it's the foursome. And for the Jayhawks, Goose out there with Doc. Then there's A-Train, and it's ABC, and it's Moss in at the 3 spot.
Well, if you don't take care of the ball, fellas, that's what can happen.
Absolutely, Greg. That makes the turnover even more painful.
What? You mean the throwdown at the end? I'll tell you what, fellas. I mean, the highlight shows are going to pain them even more.
Here's Dotson, and he uses the glass on the layup. Clark, midseason rumors now in full session. When a player requests a trade, how strongly do you think that affects team chemistry?
You know, Kevin, I'm all for players voicing their choice and actually having an opportunity to express themselves, but it can be detrimental if a player in the middle of a season makes it known that he's not interested in being there. It can have a terrible effect on team chemistry, in my opinion.
And the Jayhawks with possession.
Well, you look at the points they produced in that game, great adjustments on the offensive end.
Well, it's really hard to stop them when they're in a groove offensively, and they were in a comfort zone all game long in that one.
Shot clock at 6. Lets it fly. Azubuike the pass to Garrett. Now Azubuike. 5 on the clock. Fires the 3. Poked away. Out of bounds. It'll go to the Wildcats. Here are the Wildcats. Here in the first quarter with about 2 minutes gone by. And it's a foul called on Doc. That is his first foul of the game. Bottoms, he's checked in for the Jayhawks. And that's a foul called on Bottoms. That is his first foul of the game. Mr. Fundamentals checked in for Bottoms. Pass to Montgomery. Clock at 6. Here's Q. Scored the basket, his second of 2 attempts. And just under 2.5 minutes elapsed here in the first. Guys, they're looking for a way to score here.
Yeah, they've had a tough time taking the lid off.
And the ball out of play. The Jayhawks will inbound. The Jayhawks have gone 1 of 3 from the field to start this one so far. Count that bucket.
And the lack of effort to fight over the screen there makes that an easy shot.
Well, I'm going to credit the screen. I mean, that's a good, strong pick he lays there.
Got that bucket in no time at all.
Poor design there defensively. They know he's a knockdown shooter from that spot.
And you do not want to let him get going early because that can get you cooked.
Here's Garrett. He had 13 points in the win again.
And he was relentless in that one. I mean, he wanted to be the first to every rebound and almost was.
Just 4 to shoot. They get it again. Here's Azubuike. Laid in with a nice touch off the glass.
The tenacity on the interior, just battling, bringing that effort and will for second chance points.
And we're approaching about 3.5 minutes played in the first quarter. Here's baddest one. That one doesn't go. And it's the Jayhawks the other way.
And you gotta love a team that can maintain its composure on the road. Take good shots and knock them down with confidence.
Well, efficiency is critical, and I love how they ran their offense and got quality shots out of their sets.
Here's ABC. He's averaging a bit over 5 points a game. He goes up again. Azubuike. Good. Azubuike's got his second bucket of the night.
And their post play has been really solid right off the bat.
There's the pass to Ball. Pass to Montgomery. Knocks it loose. And the ball out of play. The Jayhawks will inbound.
That is just a careless turnover. You've got to be smarter in those exchanges.
For the Jayhawks, Smooth comes in for A-Train, and T subbed in for Maverick. The Jayhawks have gone 50% from the field to this point, 4 of 8. Stolen away. Passes it to Ball. Now the pass to the Wizard. And he gets the friendly spin, and that one drops. And so it's Garrett with it. He brings it up for the Jayhawks. Trailing by 2. That's tipped. From deep. And the last second attempt doesn't fall. At the end of one, a closely contested game so far. Wildcats lead by 2. And we'll get things started in the second quarter when we return. Some good action already in this one, but a fairly even matchup after the first quarter of play. And an important part of every team's game, a look at the hustle stats for the Wildcats.
And it's been about their defense. They're playing with a frenetic pace, putting a lot of pressure on the ball handlers and forcing turnovers.
They've gotten their fair share of points off turnovers so far tonight, too.
So on the floor for the Wildcats, we've got Boomer. Brooks is out there with the Wizard. Then there's baddest one, and it's Maverick in at the 2-guard spot. Now here's Brooks. Pass to baddest one. Takes a 3. It's good from long range. Baddest one's got 5 points so far.
A total defensive collapse. I mean, no reason to allow him that kind of space from behind the arc.
Pass to Dotson. Lets it go from deep. Here's Mr. Fundamentals. 1 up, 1 down. 2 points with his first shot this game.
Yeah, coach's pet peeve there. No box out.
Those are free points you're giving away. You got to work harder on the glass.
The Wizard passes to baddest one. Passes to the Wizard. Just 5 on the clock. Can't get the bucket from 20 feet out. All right, let's catch up with our sideline reporter, David Aldridge.
Well, Kevin, over the last few years, there's been a lot of talk about seeding playoff teams 1 through 16, regardless of conference. Now, taking the top 16 teams is a tough sell, especially for owners whose teams are in the relatively weaker Eastern Conference. But taking 8 teams from each conference and then cross-seeding earlier than the finals is something that does seem possible down the road. The reward for fans might be a finals matchup with the 2 best teams in the league. Kevin?
Interesting ideas. David, thank you. Take a look at the NBA. Who's the best, you think, Clark, at controlling the defensive glass, getting the missed most shots and getting their offense back in gear?
Yeah, I think even though he's a bit undersized, he does a great job. Draymond Green, not only does he rebound the ball defensively, but he also can ignite the break because of his ball handling and passing ability. Giannis Antetokounmpo does a great job on the defensive backboards, as does Joel Embiid.
The quickies checked in for Boomer. Now, while we've got a moment now to see this year's three-point contest and how it's shaping up, let's take a look at some of the top candidates emerging as we see here some players who are likely to make the final cut.
Not too shabby of shooters on this list, Kevin. You gotta love the advancement and really the evolution of the three-point shot in today's game.
Take a look at Doc. There are a few players ahead of him in the voting, but if he holds on to his spot at number 5 on that list, he'll have a place in the three-point contest waiting for him.
And if anything, I bet he moves up the list. I mean, how could you not have this fella taking part in this contest? He'll be there.
And we'll keep you posted as we find out more. And as we get closer to the three-point contest, once we have our final list of official contestants.
Yeah, it's going to be very competitive. That's the one thing we all know. We've got an incredible group of long-distance shooters in this league right now.
No good on that one. A-Train, he's checked in for the Jayhawks. Maverick comes in for Doc. Wildcats making a switch here. And the second free throw, good. The Jayhawks have gone 2 of 4 shooting the ball here in the second. The pass to T. And we're about 2 minutes into the second quarter here. And he's fouled pretty hard on that shot, but he's got the chance to pick up the points at the line. The Jayhawks shooting their first free throws. First trip to the line in this one.
And the season numbers for them at the line thus far are really poor. Something I'm sure they are making a point of emphasis.
Yeah, it's been a very frustrating season for them in that regard, guys. Shooting 2.
He's off on the first. He hits the second from the line. The Wildcats have gotten only one of their first 4 shots in the second quarter to drop. Pass to Brooks. To the paint. And the powerful one-handed slam.
The finish was nice, but the setup was better.
Yeah, G8, the pick working to full effect before the stuff.
And, you know, not enough help from the defense there to compensate. He gets a clean look, and that's exactly how you draw it up.
Here's Maverick. The Wildcats getting their last shot to go. Azubuike, and he drops him away up off the glass. Azubuike's got 6 points. Here are the Wildcats. After this one, they're off to Philadelphia to take on the 76ers. That'll be the second of this 2-game road trip. Bangs home the trifecta.
Pick works well there. Not much resistance from the D.
Yeah, that's not the defense you need. You got to be tougher defensively.
And now the first timeout called here for the Jayhawks.
Adjustments are a part of the game, and the coach sees something he doesn't like here.
And you know what? We'll see what changes he makes coming out of this timeout.
For the Jayhawks, ABC's checked in for Smooth, and it's Goose in for Cheap. And then for the Wildcats, Baller, he's checked in for Brooks, and it's Q in for Baddest One. Here's Bottoms. Nothing yet on the scoreboard for him. And that's a foul called on Baller. That is his first foul of the game. A minute 50 left in the first half. Here's Maverick. He averages a bit over 6 points a game. 4 on the shot clock. Tries to hit him. It's blocked. Q passes the ball over to the wing. Here's Q. No good on the triple. The Jayhawks have gone 3 of 7 shooting the ball here in the second quarter. Moss, the pass to Garrett.
And you could see him give a little nod and then just burst to the rim for the alley-oop slam.
A pair of teammates, Greg, with a terrific feel for each other.
And I tell you what, guys, that's a big play to make in a close game. Potential momentum builder there.
Passes it to Montgomery. Here's Baller. The Wizard passes to Montgomery. Whistle blows. Basket is good. So a chance here for a three-point play.
Attacking in transition, the most consistent way to generate easy looks.
Yep, exactly. And if there's any opportunity for early offense, you've got to push it and push it every time.
The Jayhawks shooting their third free throw attempt of the game. Boomer, he's checked in for Little General.
What's up?
Now the free throw is good. Now leading by 1. And so here are the Wildcats.
Yeah, and that one, they caused a lot of misfires with their intensity on the defensive end.
And the hustle they showed on that end was infectious, contagious. I mean, their squad really got after it.
Mr. Fundamentals checked in for the Jayhawks. And so here are the Wildcats. They trail by 1. Here's Q. 6 on the shot clock. The Wizard. That one a little long.
The game has been very close in a lot of areas, but rebounding has been the one differentiator thus far.
And, Greg, we've seen it time and time again in games. Effort and determination on the glass can make up for a lot of other weaknesses.
Here's ABC. Brooks covering. From deep three-point range, it's deflected. And some good action through the first 2 quarters as we reach halftime. Jayhawks out front, up 1. And we'll be back right after halftime to get the third quarter underway.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
We welcome you back. Ernie Johnson with Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny the Jet Smith. Quite the tussle there in the first half, huh? Checking out the Jayhawks. Kenny, what's your take?
Well, one place they had the edge was on the offensive boards. They converted those extra possessions into points. Nothing is more demoralizing to a defense than forcing a miss and then giving up a second attempt. The offensive glass is going to pay big dividends for them.
And Shaq, let's get your input on the visiting team.
Well, their poor rebounding is really hurting. It hasn't killed them on the scoreboard yet, but they need to pick it up. This is a game they can win. If they come out hustling in the second half, they can win.
And that'll do it for us. The third quarter about to begin with Kevin Harlan standing by. We'll catch you on the flip side.
My brother.
And as we get into this third quarter, as we've seen so far, neither team able to create much separation on the scoreboard yet. A-Train has been sensational.
And he was an absolute monster on the offensive glass in that first half. Slow him down.
And you know what, guys? I think it starts with having a body on him every time a shot goes up. I mean, they've got to do a better job boxing out.
And if you're just joining us, we've played through the first half in a game that's been fairly even so far. Our second half of basketball, and presented by Gatorade. Let's see who's all fueled up and on the floor to start the third. And Jayhawks, we've got Goose. A-Train is out there with ABC. And there's Maverick. And it's Dotson in at point guard. Shot clock at 3. Buries the long-range jumper. And that's 10 points for baddest one. Mark, we have seen so many great players in the history of this terrific game. But in your mind, who's the best who have never won an MVP?
Wow, you think about some of the names on that list recently or not too long ago. Patrick Ewing, Scottie Pippen, same era. How about going back to John Havlicek, a former Buckeye and all-time great with the Celtics. Elgin Baylor, one of the first high-flying forwards that I recall, one of those really creative do-it-all type forwards. Jerry West and Dwayne Wade right in that mix too, man. Those are some lofty names that didn't get an MVP.
And he can't get the first one. Good on the second free throw. Here's Bottoms. He's still scoreless so far in this one. Tipped away. And here's the break. Here's Baller. Off target on the 15-footer. And about a minute of action so far in the third quarter. Bottoms, the pass to Moss. Good ball movement here by the Jayhawks. And the basket is good. Maverick's got his first points of the night.
Yeah, the D has not been able to keep the ball out of the paint at that end of the court.
And there's the call on Maverick. That's his first foul. The pass to Q. Here is Boomer. 5 to shoot. Pass to baddest one. For the 3. That's in. That's his 5th field goal. He's shooting a hot 71%. 5 for 7. Here's Garrett. Passes it to Bottoms. And the whistle blows. It's going to be on baddest one. That is his first foul of the game. Wildcats on D. They've only allowed 2 points so far in the second half.
They are just killing them on the interior.
Yeah, you can't say that with enough emphasis. I mean, the defenders are just not being aggressive enough down low. You got to play with some physicality in the paint.
And the Wildcats call time here. In addition to going over the game plan and making whatever necessary adjustments have to be made, Greg, this timeout also the time for players to get rehydrated or hydrate for the first time with some Gatorade. Plenty of basketball still to be played here, and they have to get recharged.
That's a great point. Without proper hydration, a player can completely run out of gas down the stretch of a game. And that's something that none of these guys can afford to have happen. If you're going to battle all the way to the finish, you have got to be hydrated.
check out the Western Conference standings right now that we're here in the new year. You look at the Jayhawks, and not a surprise, really, to see them sitting there in the #1 spot in the conference. The excellent brand of basketball they've been putting on display lately has been terrific.
And seeing where the Jayhawks are, they have caught the entire league off guard. This was not a position anyone thought they'd be in at this stage of the season.
And the credit belongs to them for what they did and didn't do during the offseason. I mean, they had a vision, they set it out, and they stayed true to it.
At 50% in a decent group. Bottoms, the pass to Moss. Here's Garrett. Another steal. And here comes the break. Here's Baller. And he banks in the layup. Now it's a 6-point Wildcat lead.
And that's the kind of play you just do not want to give up defensively. You lose the possession and give up a quick 2 at the other end.
Here's Maverick. Kicks it to Garrett. Six to shoot. That shot is off. And the Wildcats the other way now. This offense has really been clicking.
And they know it, guys. They're playing right now with the kind of energy that is hard to deal with.
And the ball on a play. The Jayhawks will inbound.
A moment here to see some numbers for A-Train. Over the last 10 games or so, he's really shown up. First in field goal percentage, fourth in blocks, and he sits in the top 15 in points per game. An absolute powerhouse offensively.
And you're right, he's been the pinnacle of scoring efficiency. Never seems to take a bad shot. That's why he's tops in field goal percentage. Timeout called, the Jayhawks. Clark, we know you have great passion for the game of basketball. Any passions that our fans may not know about?
Yeah, I enjoy golf. I'm an avid reader. As you well know, Kevin, we actually share book titles on occasion. Obviously, food is universal, and there's nothing I turn down. I try to eat certain things in moderation, but I enjoy board games, too. In terms of sports, I'm a fan of football, both college and pro. Enjoy playing golf, and board games and reading probably are what occupy my time.
Mr. Fundamentals checked in for Maverick. And then for the Wildcats, the Wizard comes in for the Little General, and Brooks subbed in for Q. There's a minute 47 left in the third quarter. Garrett, the pass to ABC. He kicks to Garrett. Now Azubuike. 8 points for him. 5 on the clock. From outside the arc. Garrett's shot is off. And here's Brooks. He'll bring it up for the Wildcats. And there's the pass to Baddest One. Brooks outside. Pass to Baddest One. The 17-footer. And it hung on the rim, but wouldn't fall for him. The Jayhawks have gone 2 of 4 here to start the second half. Garrett looking over the floor. Passes it to Bottoms. Poked away. Out of bounds. It'll go to the Wildcats. Now a chance to see the NBA leaders in steals. Well, you look at the Baddest One. Always dangerous on the court. He leads the league. And, of course, Doc. 2 slots slower.
When you've got those two guys out there, both with such quick hands, one hiccup by a ball handler, and they're off to the races.
Got a piece of it. And it's out of bounds to the Wildcats. Mavericks checked in for the Jayhawks. Goes up off the inbound. And good that time. Baddest One's got the lead up to 8 now for the Wildcats.
Well, the pick didn't exactly neutralize the defender, but good concentration on the finish to still get the basket.
The pass to Mr. Fundamentals. Now 8 seconds separating the 2 clocks. Pass to Moss. Shot clock at 6. The Jayhawks need to get off a shot here. And the Jayhawks again can't hit. From deep. And he got that one up in time, but doesn't go in. And so it's the visiting team holding on to an 8-point lead heading into the break. Their shooting has been the big key. Their percentage from the field so far has been terrific. We'll return shortly. The fourth quarter has arrived. So good to have you with us. From the field, 44%, not bad. So on the floor for the Wildcats. Brooks is out there with the Wizard. Then there's Baller. Then there's Baddest One. And it's Richards in at the 5, roaming the paint. Here's Maverick. Just 5 on the clock. Pass to Garrett. Tries it from 19. Brooks grabs the board.
Well, they'll be happy with that look, even though it didn't fall.
You know what? That's a confidence shaker for him, though. I mean, that's a shot he expects to make every time.
Not his best game, but they're still getting it done collectively.
Here's Baller. Takes it into the teeth of the D and converts the layup. Baller's got the first field goal of the fourth quarter here for the Wildcats. All right, well, look at how the hustle game has been going for the Wildcats.
Boy, their hounding, harassing effort at the defensive end, very impressive. And they forced quite a few turnovers as a result.
They have, but you also can't overlook how well they defended the rim. As they've challenged every shot, also gotten quite a few blocks as well.
And the Wildcats call time here.
And Kevin, he saw his guys just a little sluggish out there. Oftentimes a timeout like this allows you to kind of just reset.
Thunder's checked in for Maverick. And then for the Wildcats, Little General, he's checked in for the Wizard. And it's Q in for Brooks. He gets a chance now to catch up with the fourth member of our crew, Hall of Famer David Aldridge.
Kevin, during the last time out, I heard the Wildcats coach talking with his team. His point to them was that they put themselves in the position to succeed and that this is their game to lose. So he needs to see full concentration out of every guy on the court to finish this one off. Kevin?
Shooting 2.
First free throw is good. Magicians checked in for the Jayhawks. on both. And turnovers have been the issue for him.
You can see the coaches have gotten into him a little bit about this. They've got to do a better job of taking care of the ball.
Here's Garrett. Passes it to Moss. Here's Magician. Takes the three. Doesn't go that time. Last quarter of play, about 2 minutes in now. Here's Baddest one. Misses the three. The Jayhawks have gone 1 of 3 from the field to start the fourth quarter. Beyond the arc. And that one's good. And the Wildcat lead is cut down to 7 on the bucket from Magician.
Hey, I'm stating the obvious here, but he was very comfortable taking that shot. Not a defender in sight.
He rifled that one in from distance. And that's 18 points for Baddest one.
I love his shot selection today. He set the bar for the rest of the team.
Timeout called. The Jayhawks have to like what we're seeing from Baddest one.
And he's on fire from beyond the arc there. It's time to start shaping their game plan around stopping this long-range assault.
And the Jayhawks making a change here. Wilson's checked in. Just under 2.5 minutes gone here in the final quarter. Knocks it loose. Here's the break. Here's the lob to the hoop.
Great teamwork punctuated by a strong finish.
That is the perfect fast break, guys. Getting a hoop before the defense can get set.
The Jayhawks have gone 2 of 4 from the field since we started the final quarter of play. Around 3 minutes gone here in the fourth quarter. To the middle, Azubuike shooting foul as the whistle blows. He'll shoot 2 free throws.
Yeah, good job to take it right at the D.
Yeah, really left him no choice there, Greg. I mean, he had to foul and keep him from converting the easy bucket.
That free throw missing. Bottoms, he's checked in for Wilson. And he can't get the second one to drop either. Coming up empty that time. To the inside. Here's Maverick. Hands it from downtown.
That's a nice play. Getting the separation he needs for a clean look.
And you look at him, he's given up an awful lot of size in that matchup, so he needs to have the ability to create separation.
Here's Baddest one. And here we go. The Jayhawks with a fast break. And it's blocked. And it's going to be out of bounds. The Jayhawks will have another go. A bit under 3.5 minutes have passed here in the fourth. Now the pass to Azubuike. Good ball movement here by the Jayhawks. Here's Garrett. Pass to Moss. Launches it. He can't hit that time. Here's Baddest one. 1:10 left in the fourth. Passes to Richards. And that one, good. And the Wildcats lead by 11.
And at this point, just sort of running through the paces as it appears it'll be a nice win here for the Wildcats.
You know, it's tough to put your finger on the deciding factor in this one, but I'd say that the shooting accuracy made the difference.
Yeah, I think you're on point, Kevin. They got better looks, and that tends to lead to a better field goal percentage.
And a milestone win for the season. This will push their victory total to 20 wins even.
And you know, this is a win they wanted badly, guys. They did not want to get swept in the season series.
Most definitely. I mean, even though you see opponents outside of your conference only twice a year, you still don't want to have that feeling of being swept.
The one player that really stands out, of course, in this one, it was a dazzling game for Baddest One.
Boy, from a scoring standpoint, he was absolutely sensational. Made the game look easy tonight.
So we see the Wildcats get the win here. A solid win on the road for them. This building was dead silent by the time, GA, this one wound down.
And that's what you want to do. Take the crowd out of it by crunch time. Don't give them any chance to lift their team up at the finish.
Well, folks, that's going to do it for now. For David Aldridge, Greg Anthony, and Clark Kellogg, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time. Have a great evening.